I'm Faith, and welcome to Faith's Take, where I talk about anything and everything that I find interesting. And welcome to my reaction to episode 2 of season 11 of Mystery Science Theater 3000. Just like last time, I had a lot of fun doing my actual reactions to show you guys, so I'm gonna do the same thing here, so let's check that out first. Man, at least Joel and Mike were just doing their jobs. Jonah went out of his way to be a nice guy and then got kidnapped.
Worthless for recording, so I have to act it out every time or else I get poked with a cattle prod.
Note to self, cattle prod. You're with Mohawks.
11 o'clock. Dinosaur.
Why did they have those transitions if nothing changed?
You like stock footage and incomplete Bigfoot costumes?
Yes.
Kennedy Elementary presents the Book of Mormon.
Yeah, okay, I was thinking they'll look like little Mormon kids.
Let the hatred flow through you.
Paul, I loved your letter to the Corinthians.
Ah, that's a werewolf reference.
Big trouble, young man.
Oh, but they said Philippians in that one, not Corinthians.
Dear Great Pumpkin, everyone's crazy.
Father,
What?
great danger, Paul.
Sweetums, is that you?
Yes. Oh man, Gypsy coming back in randomly again.
You're too old to believe in fairy tales.
He is? What a terrible way to find out.
He's making up stories. That's why you're always in trouble.
Since you didn't ask, yes, this is my band's demo tape, and yes, it's on endless loop. Don't argue with me, young man. Listen,
He didn't say anything.
no more your...
Let's see. That song is still the high bar to hit, so let's see what happens here.
We're cute little raccoons and all we want to do is make a mess. I'm a plague carrier. We're so curious.
Pretty much a time waster, that one.
And if you get thirsty, help yourself to some maple syrup I have on my headboard. But be careful of my three-legged bear plate. It cast no reflection. I think it might be cursed.
My son...
Kicky scarf on that
Instead
guy.
of Jay Leno's garage.
How'd a kid get like 200 cans of Coke?
Pack it in, pack it out, kind of...
The Wookiee homeworld of Kashyyyk.
Huh?
The state of...
I hope. It's off the hunt we go. To kill some things and conquer things.
Are we being chased by orcs?
What are you doing, you
Brace
moron?
yourself, Paul. We're in the splash zone.
Hey, okay. Jim, you're taking too many unnecessary risks.
Yeah!
Let's keep this a secret between you and me.
Okay, it is never good when an adult says that to a kid.
Yeah, what the? Oh, next segment. Okay, that seemed kind of fast. The bar's not very high now based on that first one, so you can do it, come on. I believe in you. More
What you
little
doing,
wooden
Joe?
props.
Yeah, the animals to plot ratio is way off balance. Why would anyone do that?
This bird is sick. We've got to take it
How
to
can you
Helen's
tell?
She is...
So far, only clues is that it broke some nerd's glasses and it made it eagle sick.
What are you? This is actual footage of the actors attempting to escape the production. This guy needs more ways to cover his face. Like another
Again, the riff was like either the exact moment or a split second before the shot even changed. It's not as bad as the last one, hasn't been as much as the last one, but it still happened a few times.
on the bike. You're taking... Execute Order 66. Come on.
Wow, that's the third Star Wars riff this whole time. Side had quenched your danger thirst. The stupid ones always seem to come in first. I do like that they're using the songs, that's awesome.
Did we smash cut to the afterlife? Walking Dead.
You remember me, don't you? You died 13 years ago. I saw you see...
So they did smash cut to the afterlife?
Easter. All the animals in the forest needed me. So I got up.
What?
Broke out of the God made man. The beast. The forest. One can't live without the other.
So he's a Christian Native American that came back to life? What?
Dumb Indian, huh? Would a dumb Indian be able to teach a cougar how to set a trap like that?
Well, lots of shows don't get good until the 5th episode, so you spend your life watching, waiting to
Let's
see
put
what
that
your
excuse in
friends
right
love.
now, just in case.
Never happened.
Why are they even looking at blank paper?
Give me a veg.
Here it is!
No, we
The Bobo
merely
Cast
are
looks bizarre.
off something. Oh, there's my contact lens next to that big crater.
Where's Brain Guy's brain?
Nah, we're not doing that. Too busy with experiments and world conquering. Foresters never give up.
Well, officially, off the record, they
Yeah.
never see anything through to completion.
I'd like to welcome you into the Second Bananas Club with some traditional social grooming with my nifty VR remote gloves.
Your family is weird.
A lot of wasted
It had so
potential.
much work seeming this season with the old one. I should have just rebooted.
You cut to 2 months after you kidnap the guy. You don't explain where the bots came from, and now you're saying, oh, it's so hard to connect these two. You've barely tried to connect to the original, and that's fine if you don't mention it. I don't know, there was a lot of wasted potential in that segment. It could have been way, way funnier than it was. I mean, you had 3 of the original cast. It's a continuation, but also a somewhat separate continuity, almost like a continuation from another dimension, if that makes any sense. So it's like, because as far as we know, Dr. Forrester never had a kid in the original series. I'm just disappointed. It's not that the segment was even horrible. It's just like you had 3 of the original cast as their original characters, and
I remember Jumanji being this terrifying.
oh, Jumanji's more terrifying. Jonah, what are you talking about?
Would you be? So Paul's been out of school for like 6 months now, so he's probably gonna have to repeat like 3 grades.
Paul, stay in your Jeep and don't get out.
6 months, 3 grades. What's the difference?
I never not see that coming. This kid Paul is a danger to himself and others.
Danger to myself and others.
No tiger here, no tiger here, no tiger here.
Don't riff us
No
too
tiger
much.
here,
Stop, please.
no tiger here, no tiger here.
That was such a long joke. You didn't have to have it start as soon as the shot changed. You could have given it a few milliseconds. What?
Hey, Goldstruck him. It's a switcheroo. Oh no, Dad's allergic to styrofoam. I've got to save him.
Where'd the other adults go?
Yeah, pile on, kid. What's a few more broken ribs? Sorry, we were busy taking selfies with the drug tiger. What happened?
Yeah, where were you jerks?
Ah, my beautiful face! Ah, my pretty face!
This went all Greek mythology very quick.
Yeah.
Dad, do you know what happened to the last man who crossed me? I'm looking forward to reading your essays on what you could have possibly learned from this incredibly nonsensical, poorly conceived, and abysmally executed movie.
Some Bill Corbett crow coming out there.
Can somebody please explain it to me?
Close your mouth.
Breathe. It's alright.
He can hyperventilate into a bag, but he can't close his mouth when he talks.
Yeah, I thought my soul was thoroughly crushed by this movie, but, you know, now the song is squeezing out the last little bit.
If I push the button, will I not be in trouble anymore?
Worth a try.
Can you see more evilness from her? It's like, she just gives dirty looks, but I want her to, like, actually be evil. Whoa. This one had, like, literally 17 writers. Did the first one have 17 writers? I didn't notice if it did. Maybe I wasn't looking at the time. That had 17 writers, because I was like 5, 10, 15, then still 2 more. 17 writers. Which might explain some stuff. I'd like to apologize, by the way, for the camera moving at all. I have it's my phone on my little, like, tripod thing on a laundry basket on a bed to keep it as steady as it could be, so I apologize for all the movement. It's same right now, so I apologize for all the movement. This episode, the segments were way more lackluster, which is unfortunate, and I'll skip to the one that we all want to talk about, I'm sure, with Pearl Forrester, Bobo, and Brain Guy all coming back. Because at first, it's like the potential with having those 3 come back and having Mary Jo, Kevin, and Bill all come back, the potential is so great, and I think they kind of botched it. I think, first, it was just, the first couple sentences, I was like, okay, this could work fine. I did notice Bobo's costume looked a little weird. I mean, that's like, you know, that's fine, I guess, that's a nitpick, I guess, but it was just, I don't know, it somehow looked even stiffer, I guess. But where was Brain Guy's brain? He wasn't holding the pan, it wasn't in the background or anything. I really wish they'd had it. I mean, I guess that's a minor detail, but he almost always had it either in his arms or by his side, so I wish they'd had that, especially because he was just sitting there in the bus, so I think they could have done that. We got some information about Kinga, that she is officially Pearl's granddaughter, and as far as we, you know, if it's still in continuity, which we'll get to, Dr. Forster never had a kid, as far as we know, so is she adopted? Is she supposed to be actually his kid? I don't know. Yeah, I think it was a little disappointing. I thought it would be funnier, or they'd have more to do. Now, it's the fact that they just leave, okay, I get that that's the joke, and that's what's funny, or whatever. But the dialogue before wasn't as sharp as it could have been. Definitely not. So hopefully they come back and can do some more. I hope that wasn't the only segments that they get to do. I hope they do more stuff later on. The Invention Exchange was not as good as the Bubble Fan. And the raccoon thing was so fast, and again, not very funny. They're just, just stating what they did in the theater, which sometimes can work, but they didn't add anything to it. They didn't do something that was super crazy or super funny necessarily, so that one was like, it was there. And the second one, I did like I love how Jonah is so obsessed already with doing those models. Like how Joel always had stuff already like pre-built. I like how Jonah has all these like little wooden model things. That song is gonna be the thing to beat though, guys, because that song was so good and so cute. And it allowed for a lot of fun character interaction, which I think we got a lot less of in this one. Not just because one segment was with the Mads and other characters, but the raccoon one, you didn't really get anything. You didn't get as much, which I understand. Like the first episode, you want to have even more of the characters interacting in personality and such, and make sure that you get that connection early on. I wish there had been more of that in this one though, because I really liked that. That was one of my favorite parts of the last one. Now when it comes to the theater stuff, they got a little better when it comes to riffing too early, but there were still at least half a dozen times where it happened. At least half a dozen that were so noticeable that I was like, hey, that's too much. There were one or two times where it's like the instant the frame changes to that shot, they riff it, if not a frame early. One of you had commented on my other video for the premiere episode where I said, how do they do the theater segments? Do they record them in the theater or not? Because Crow's mouth is always off, or almost always off, and the mics are so clear it sounds more like it's ADR, like it's a voice booth. And when he said it is, they did a lot of recording in a voice booth, and then they were there in the theater. They do record in the theater. It's not all just animated or anything. But it is separate. It is done separately, so the bots don't make any noise. So, like, the puppets don't make any noise. And I was like, oh, because I like that, though. I like the charm. I'm a big puppet person. As you saw in my reactions, I'm sick of Crow talking like this, and he's not really closing his mouth when you can see his mouth. And I'm a big fan of puppets. I love, obviously, the show, but I also love the Muppets a lot. And I have a lot of respect for good puppetry. So when you give me puppetry, when you have 3 puppeteers for each of the 2 lead puppets, and one of them can't even close its mouth in the theater, that's a problem. Like, come on, if you're gonna have that many people, have it be high quality. I know sometimes with radio controlled puppets, like they are for the mouths, it's hard to get it to close all the way, but you can still do it. So that's bothering me a lot. They could fix that. They need to fix that. I know a lot of people be like, oh, that's a nitpick. But it's just, as someone that loves puppetry, it's a little irritating, and especially when they spend so much money and time on these puppets. Like, the arms move now, and they have 3 puppeteers apiece. It's, you can afford to fix it so the mouth can move right when they're riffing in the theater. And I miss the ambient noise of puppets. I like that. Like, when they started in the 2000s in any Muppet special or movie now, they erase the rods that they have in the hands, and I don't like that. I like seeing the rods. I like hearing the noise that the puppets make. I don't know. I think that it gives it like a special charm that puppets can have that animation can't. Animation is almost always going to be perfect. But puppets, because they're in the real world, you can see a little bit of like the gizmos attached, or there can be little mistakes that you just have to live with because it's really there. Yeah, so the riffing too fast is definitely less of it, still noticeable. The other thing about the riffing, I would say, is the riffs overall were still mediocre. There were again, the best ones are the geeky references. They had another Muppets reference, and I counted as we went along because I kept noticing at least 6 Star Wars references, which is amazing in my opinion. It's like, do that every episode, that's great. So again, it was a few specific reference jokes were the best. The other jokes were fine. There were a few that I laughed at, and obviously, like, as I put those in and everything, most of the jokes don't get more than, like, a smile or a chuckle out of me. if that. Not a lot of jokes have me rolling on the floor as of yet, but both these movies have been really lame. And in this one, a lot of the problems are still about the same. Like I said though, the riffing overall, better. If I had to grade the riffing on this one, it'd probably be a C+, because the riffs overall aren't that good. Like, I have to be honest, they're not that great. If the other episode was like a C+, B-, and it was the host segments that brought it up, this one would still be this one would probably still be like a C+. I mean, based on this one, I almost want to give the one a higher grade. The first one would probably be a B- because the segments were so good. This one, because the segments overall, comparatively speaking at least, were lackluster, plus the riffs being mediocre, but improved when it comes to how often they're riffing. Not all the way. It's still noticeable that they're doing that, but a lot less than the other one. But that improvement would put that up a little bit from being mediocre to being better. So I would probably say it would be a C to C+, if the first episode's a B-. Competency-wise, when it comes to the riffing, it was definitely a little smoother, not quite as jarring and talking as early. But the quality of the riffs, about the same. A few really good ones, and the rest were fine. Crow's Mouth still bothers me. And then the segments, lackluster, especially for ones, when you had one that had so much potential, and then they didn't do anything with it. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on the second episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.